Hi Aquarius, Trishna here. Welcome to your October 2021 Love, Psychic, and Tarot reading. So what I'm feeling for you, Aquarius, for October 2021 is I feel a lot of anxiety or a lot of anxious thoughts about love for you right now, Aquarius. And I feel like there's a lot of things that you've come to realize, or you've come to realize that there's a lot that you need to think about, and that's what's giving you a little bit of anxiety. A lot to think about with regards to love. And the thing that I want to share with you, Aquarius, is that it only goes up from here. Once you start realizing that there's a lot of things to think about, or start realizing different things about your relationship or about you within a relationship or about the things that you want out of a relationship, once you start coming to these kinds of thoughts, to these types of realizations or these types of areas that you want to explore more about yourself or about the situation, from then on, it only goes up, because from then on, you only have exploration and things to find out. Right now, you're in the question mode. There are all these things I have to figure out, all these things I have to learn, all these things I have to explore. And of course, that can be anxiety inducing. It seems like there's a lot to do and it can feel very overwhelming, and it can feel like, where are the boundaries and how to wrap my hands or my arms or my mind around all of this? But now that you're here, now that you are aware of the things that you want to think about or the things that you need to consider whenever it comes to love and relationships, from here onwards, because you've asked the questions, the only things that can really come to you are solutions and answers and direction and clarity and certainty. So right now, consider that you're at quote unquote rock bottom, though I don't consider this necessarily rock bottom. I think it's a confusing place to be. It's a stressful place to be, but again, it is the beginning of a lot of really good things to come. Confusion is often the beginning of a lot of clarity coming into our lives, and confusion allows us to ask the questions that we need to ask in order to get the answers and the clarity that we want to have. So anyways, you can see this is rock bottom, and when you hit rock bottom, the only way to go is up, and that means lots of answers and solutions and clarity. So Aquarius, I know that you're probably kind of stressing out about a lot of things with regards to love, but just know that it's going to get better. It's going to get better. You're going to get answers. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about your partner or about relationships, and it's going to be very enlightening. And I know you're going to love that, Aquarius, because you love learning all this higher information, deeper information, more enlightened information. That's what you love, and so that's what you're going to be getting. And it's going to be pivotal for you within relationships and how you go about them and how you show love to partners. And it's going to enhance the level of relationship that you can have with others. And it's going to be very nice, Aquarius. Just, hang tight. All right, Aquarius. So I typically read tarot for this portion of the video, but this month I was guided to use some animal oracle cards. So that's what we're going to be reading now. And looking at these cards, I feel like they very nicely reflect what we just talked about. So the first card that we have is the Firefly. I feel like this firefly is essentially trying to tell you, hey, there is this darkness that you're currently in, but from that darkness, there are these little pieces of illumination, these little sparks. A firefly is out in the night, and you see these little sparks of light here and there illuminating little tiny pieces of space, but they're so beautiful, and they kind of connect to the daylight that's going to be coming forward. So I feel like the firefly is really saying, hey, like, you're starting to reach illumination phase. Like, we're in the darkness, but the sparks are starting to show up. So hang tight again for that. And the next card that we have is the hummingbird. And I feel like the hummingbird is basically also talking about how much information you're going to get through this journey, through this exploration about yourself, about your partner, about relationships, and how much you're really going to grow from that. Because the hummingbird is going around collecting so much nectar, which in this case is going to be information. And it's just going to be really beautiful. And I also feel like it kind of speaks to the anxiety that maybe you've been feeling, but it leading to beauty out of that, because a hummingbird, I think their heart beats like 100, probably more, beats per minute. And sometimes whenever we're dealing with a lot of stress, our heart levels or our heartbeat can speed up, or it can feel that way, or it can feel a lot harsher. But with the hummingbird, even going through that, it's gaining so much. And that's what's happening for you, Aquarius, is maybe there's a lot of anxiety right now, but you're going to be gaining so much if you haven't already. Sometimes even just being aware of the questions that we need to ask, or the fact that we need to ask questions, can be so illuminating in and of itself, and can bring a sense of comfort in some ways, because even though it's like, well, there are all these questions that I can't answer and there's so many questions, at least things are starting to become more defined. At least you know, okay, there are questions that I need to answer, or here are a few of them that I need to answer. And so there is a little bit of definition that comes with it. And as you focus on that definition, more and more definition is going to come to you. You're going to get answers, and it's going to be really wonderful, Aquarius. And the final card that we have here is the Sea Serpent. I feel like right now you're in this phase of not really knowing heads from tails, and maybe you're realizing that you've been that way for a really long time. You just didn't know. You didn't really know how confused you were all this time. And maybe that's part of the anxiety that you're feeling, is like you're realizing, oh my gosh, like I'm so confused, and I didn't realize how confused I have been maybe for years about this particular area of life, love. And what's coming for you though, Aquarius, is you will know heads and tails, because they're going to meet. You're going to get that clarity. You're going to get that certainty. All these different things that seem like they're in all these different places, scattered information or scattered questions, it's all going to come together, and it's all going to come together very powerfully. And again, you don't know heads from tails, but now you're going to know heads and tails are going to meet for you. So Aquarius, I feel like right now you're in an anxious place, but there's a lot of really good things to come. Whatever confusion you feel, just know that as strong of the confusion that you feel, you're going to get that same level of clarity on the other side. And I don't feel like it's that far away. I feel like sometime in November, you're going to get the clarity that you're looking for. So honor this time of confusion and sit with it, and don't necessarily try to figure out how to get unconfused, but instead try to figure out what questions you have that you need answers for. And you don't need to go out and look for answers unless you're inspired to, but just kind of start trying to define here and there. Don't stress yourself out about this, because your mind's going to work for you. You don't have to do it all consciously. Your subconscious is taking on the confusion energy, and it's going to honor it. So now you just want your conscious brain to honor it as well, so you're on the same page, so you can find clarity a little bit more smoothly, a little bit more enjoyably. But, you know, if you have some time and you start getting little thoughts about like, I should probably figure this out, or I should probably explore this, you know, write it down. Just start defining things a little bit as it comes to you. And I think that will help you honor the confusion, because you're not trying to get rid of it. You are just honoring that it's there. And whenever something comes to you to define it a little better, you're honoring that too. And I think it's unpleasant to be confused. I know, I found myself there a lot of times. But the clarity that comes from it can just be so like amazing. So just hold out for it, Aquarius. All right, so that's what I'm getting for you guys, Aquarius. If you're interested in a personal reading or to deep dive more into this, you can learn more about that in the link below in the description box. And if you haven't already, please give me a like, please give me a subscribe, and please give me a share to somebody who you think could benefit from these kinds of videos. And Aquarius, I will see you in my next one.